So welcome back. This is with book 11, Chris.
Book 11 of
Okay.
the Year of Magical Learning. We are going to be talking about one of my surprising favorite books that I've ever read. Really enjoyed this one. It's called The Rise of the Ultrarunners by A Journey to the Edge of Human Endurance by Adharahand Finn. What a cool name. Have you read this or not? I don't know.
I read another similar book called Endure, but I'm not sure if it's in the same area.
It is not. It touches on running, but Endure is more about the science behind a lot of the stuff and your mental state. This is literally the quick description of the book. The author, Harahan Finn, he's a runner. He writes for Runner's World or something like that. I can't remember what magazine he writes for, but he's a running journalist, basically. He's normally just been a marathoner and a pretty solid marathoner. And he kept running into these ultra marathoners, and he was like, you people are crazy. He's like, what is wrong with you people that just go out and go run 50 miles for fun or 100 miles for fun? He was like, I don't get it. He was like, this sucks. But he kept running into these really interesting characters, and he decided he wanted to go take a look for himself. So he set a goal to try to qualify for this really important, like the Super Bowl basically of ultra marathoning. He had to qualify for a lot of these things and go through like these certain stage things and do a bunch of different races over the course of like 2-year period of time to build up enough points to get to it. So this is like documenting his journey into the world of ultramarathoning, meeting all these people on the way, like as he's running, he's like writing and journaling about this stuff and writing the story around how he's perceiving this world, I guess, and getting into the ultramarathoner state of mind kind of thing. And it was just like a hidden gem that I kind of stumbled out of nowhere. I mean, I started this book because, as we've talked about, a lot during our time together, our mission is balance at Clubbany, right? And my personal mission is to live a balanced life. You'll hear this theme time and time again from a lot of the books that I choose. Like, I find so much value in the extremes, of letting other people go there and then learning the lesson. There's so many lessons that can be learned at the extremes, when you push yourself to the limits. While I don't want to be an ultra marathoner, like that is literally by definition extreme, it's ultra, marathoning's hard enough, but it's like, let's go further, Yeah, we need to go invent the super ultra marathoning. Dude did like a 24-hour race one night, like of all day. And it's crazy stuff. I do find a lot of values and lessons that can be learned at the extremes though. So that's why I actually embarked on this book, and I was really pleasantly surprised what I learned. One of the first things that I learned in particular, or actually the biggest lesson that I learned in particular, was as this whole entire guy's experience was building toward that last race in the Alps and Europe, he was going up and down this mountain. This is like the hardest race you can possibly imagine. The best of the pros of this world fall apart and drop out in this race a lot. People get injured all the time. It's just a really dangerous race. You're running up into the mountains. You're constantly ascending and descending, and it's in the dark, and it's just dangerous. And your body's going through a lot. This guy had spent the entire 2-year journey of time to get to this race. He got to this point where he talked about like all these ultra marathoners get to this one stage where they call it the pain cave, where their body just hits this brick wall where they're just like, I can't go any further. A lot of these ultra marathoners, that's what he discovered, was like they hit this pain cave and they like want it. That's what they crave. They get to that point in time where they're like, okay, now I got to really figure this thing out. Now I got to fight myself. Now I got to break through that mental block of like not wanting to give up while your body's telling you to shut down. Your mind is telling you to shut down. And for this particular author, as he hit his own pain cave on this quest that he'd been on for 2 years to run this race, he told himself, like, you'll regret it. He was in this cabin recuperating, getting some fluids in him and stuff like that. He did quit. Like, he was like, I'm done. I'm packing in my bags. He called his wife and he was like, I'm done. I can't make this any further. 2 of his friends, actually, that he was doing this journey with showed up at the same check-in tent. And then they connected together. They convinced him to go take a few steps outside or something along those lines. And slowly by surely, he started to walk a little bit further, started to run a little bit more. And then, he ended up just kept pushing and pushing until he eventually finished this race. In the words that he said of, you'll regret it if you drop out, when he was talking about when he was in that moment, it just stuck with me. It just made me remember and think of like life as an ultra marathon. It's like there's going to be hard shit that we all go through. I mean, I went through something terrible with my family, and losing my daughter. I mean, I know you've been through hardships in your life. I've been through plenty of other hardships as well. Nothing to the level of losing my daughter, but certainly areas where I went into the pain cave, I guess, if you will, of my life, and I had to figure out like, how am I going to push through this, right? So that lesson of just thinking you'll regret it if you drop out. Life's an endurance race. Life's an ultra marathon. Like, it's pretty cool. If you just keep pushing through and you keep enduring, then you can make it through. So that was my reflection from this book. The question that I can ask you then is what do you do when you hit the pain cave in your own life? Or what's your thoughts on what I just shared?
Well, I think there's a merit in it. For me, I will give my all and find ways to give more in whatever that is, but only if it is important to me. If something's not important to me, I cave. I don't care. If you're talking about something like family life, I will endure until I can't endure no more. But other stuff, running is not my thing. So I'm sure running is a thing for these guys. But for me, if it's important to me, there's no limit. The only way you can stop me from continuing to find ways to move on is you have to literally kill me. You have to take me out of it. If I have a conscience at all, I won't quit. So to me, having that is good. It's also the reason why you could find more energy afterward is knowing your why, right? Because if you know your why, then if it's your family or if it's my daughter that I need to protect or whatever the case may be, I will find the courage. I will find the extra iota of energy to move on and to move on from that maximum.
Right.
And for us as Clubbany, we advocate balance. And even though we don't want to do the ultra marathoners, but we still appreciate that they're doing it. They are the pioneers of whatever extremities that they're doing. Because in order for us to know what's balance, we have to learn from other people to know what's the extremity. To find the middle of a line, you need to know the endpoints.
Yeah.
Right? Because without the endpoints, how do you know this is the middle? So how do you know this is balance? Yeah. So I think, these guys did us a great favors. I mean, these guys, these are their muse. Whatever makes them do what they do, we appreciate that. As in Clubbany, we learn from people and we take these as lessons to say these extremities, and I want to be in the middle, in the balance.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like, don't get me wrong. When you're in the balance, when you have harmony and you have, balance, like you're not, the pain cave is the exact opposite of balance. You know what I mean?
Balance is we don't know how long something is.
Right.
The extremity. So somebody has to do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
honestly,
I'm glad that these guys are doing it.
The crazy thing that you hear time and time, actually it's not that crazy. These ultra marathoners, almost every single one of them to a T had something wrong with them. They had a painful trauma in their past they were running from, or they had something driving them to go push themselves to this extreme that it wasn't a good thing. Like it was to a T across the board. It wasn't a natural thing. These people were a little off, and you have to be a little off to go push yourself. But to the whole point of what we're talking about, we need those people to go do these things because, and then write the stories like this so we can go have this conversation and learn from it. Like it is, like there's people that commit suicide all over this world, that get to the point in time where they feel like they need to drop out of life. You know what I mean? And they'll regret it. We all know that, but it's through learning lessons like this of going like, look, it's okay. We're all going to hit the pain cave every once in a while. Maybe we didn't intentionally put ourselves there. These people intentionally go find and seek out the pain cave. Like you and I don't want that if we don't have to have that. But now, but through our journey of what we're doing, we know how to handle it when we are there, and we don't need to drop out of the race of life,
There's certain things that you only have one life, right? And these guys are more or less in a way creating some kind of experiment to say, hey, this is how much further you can go after you hit the pain cave. Yeah. And no one knows unless someone tried it. And with that, you can translate into the real life where you know that, hey, after you hit the end point in your real life, that you can actually find some more. I mean, these guys did it, right? Because they hit the pain cave and then they continue to move forward.
Absolutely. And there's some value in that. There's an incredible value that can be, that's where you find your values, right? We talked about this, I think even yesterday. It's like in the pain cave is where you find your value, that's where you get your most valuable lessons from. And there's something magical about it, but something certainly that I don't want to seek out.
Yeah, because you'll be looking.
Right.
Because if you're comfortable, you're not going to be looking.
Right. Yep.
So only when these circumstances present itself and forces you to say, hey, I have to find something. I have to look for a different solution. And only then that you can say, hey, I find my values.
Yep.
But if you don't look, then you don't find it. So what triggers you to start looking. And I think this is one of them.
Yeah, I agree. Well, it was a fun conversation. So the question we can leave you all with is, what do you do when you hit the pain cave in your own life? Something to think about, reflect about. And we will see you for book 12 tomorrow.
Monday.
Yeah, a balance, right? We gotta.
Yep.
Awesome. All right.
Yep.
Yep.